All right, Papa, it's on you.
All right. Dan Prouse from Mount Elgin, Ontario. My son, Matt, he also lives in Mount Elgin. We are Prouse Transport. He is the fourth generation who he now owns and runs the company with my cousin, who's third generation.
This thing here is our 1975 Ford. See, I haven't got it right yet.
Oops.
1974.
He's still learning.
Yeah, I'm still new at this. Cabover Diamond Rio.
The model is a Royale.
There you go.
Yeah, is what they come out with.
It was quite a fancy buggy back in the day.
So there's a Royale and a Royale 2, right?
Yes, there's a Royale 2. The big difference is the grill. The Royale 2 has just chrome bars with a whole row of diamonds down the middle. That's the big difference.
Was one of them more common than the other?
This one, neither one of them is very common. The Royale 2 was actually introduced at the same time that Diamond Rio was failing
financially.
Yeah.
Oh, with the diamond grill in it? Yes.
Yeah.
And they are quite something, aren't they?
No.
When they come way down, no. And like Dad says, some of the people we've talked to over the years will explain, as the years pressed on and things got harder and harder, you would notice stuff like the windshield wipers went down to one arm. They started losing these. So it's kind of neat when you know that, because then you get to some place and you see them like, oh, these are little different features.
They start cheaping out.
Yep. Yep.
Because an interesting side note, we had the trucks to South Bend, Indiana, to the HHS, that one there, in 2011, and which isn't far from Lansing, Michigan. So two old boys show up one day who'd worked at the Diamond Rio plant, and they had all kinds of stories. And like Matt says, with the grab handles up here, these two, before that, it was a cast aluminum with a diamond imprinted. The fancy ones that was on the 74s and some of the 75s, they run out of them and they couldn't buy any more. So they went down to the local hardware store and just bought those grab handles and started putting them on the trucks, because they said the writing was on the wall at that time. And that was even before the Royale 2s come out.
When did they go out of business?
Late 75.
Okay.
They introduced the Royale 2 and the Raider conventional and built them for probably less than a year. And then, they closed the doors.
That explains why both of them are so rare.
Yep. But this one here was purchased out of Stony Creek. There was a short-lived Diamond Rio dealer at Stony Creek in Hamilton, and we bought it there. Again, like the Dodge, we bought it brand new and have owned it ever since.
What's that all about? What's going on there?
So if you're this is one of their trademarks. So this is your.
Sorry, I got distracted.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shiny stuff. So this is your door handle. So you open and then you pull. So the latch, instead of being on the door, is on the cab itself.
They believed that it was better for the latch to be on the solid cab than on the door, that was getting slammed all the time.
Yep. So you have to, and then so it's to open. It's this little thing down here. You got to try and find to open
when you
it
go
again.
to get out.
Yeah, and then this is how you would lock it up here in this thing. So you gotta keep messing around until you got it.
Is this the original?
Yes, this is original interior.
That's why I say they were ahead of their time. Original interior. If you'll see the knob above the steering wheel on the dash,
right here,
that's to adjust it's a tilt steering wheel. Yeah,
if it works.
Pretty funky looking pedals.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I think they were one of the first to suspend
like this one,
pedals from above.
They would have had
instead of coming through the floor.
The floor mat too had the Diamond Rio in it.
So did this one work for you guys?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, this one was a workhorse.
Actually, this one worked. It probably has well over 1 million miles on it.
That we probably lost track of.
Well, this actually looks relatively simple.
Are you sure? Do I catch you or did I let you fall?
350 Cummins had a 13 over, and this one had 411 rear ends in it when it was new, which made it quite a race car in its day.
I guess somebody should have dusted the dash off. It's not much of a use even for an armrest. It has a cup holder for some reason. You would never use it.
Tim Hortons won't stay in
Oh,
it.
No,
it's
it
like
wouldn't.
an inch deep.
Yeah, nothing stays in it. Bottle of water, and it's all over the place.
What's the suspension? Is it rough? Or...
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so they both have Hendrickson
big heavy Henderson suspensions.
suspension. So
Yeah, they ride god awful bobtailing. We have a trailer to pull with it once I get it back on the road again. This one was ordered as a steel case truck. When steel case had ordered a bunch of these in. That's why it's steel case blue.
Ah, so this is not your normal.
Again, it was a lot truck. Yeah, we were buying lot trucks at that time, right? So somebody ordered in too many, and yeah, here we are.
the blue on the inside of the door is the original color.
That's nice.
Oh yes, that's the air conditioning. Like a lot of people nowadays, it goes both ways. The gentleman that got this truck new was a young fellow at the time, and he's back working for us again. Yeah, and he's only like 6.5 feet tall. So figure out how you drive this thing. Like he literally is 6'2" or 6'3". So how, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're no taller than I am, and look at the kind of leg room you have. And the throttle pedal is like right pretty well underneath the seat. Well, you have to use your toe. You wouldn't use the whole thing. Real cozy.
That's like
Very simple.
Looking,
yep.
That's not that
It really is not that bad, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. That was rebuilt 2 years ago. The motor had an overhaul, and then the frame got repainted. That's all hand painted. This is handcrafted by myself. I painted all of this. Trim clad is everybody's friend. Can't go wrong. Cummins brown, and then no, we can't get the Cuban red anymore because again, lead paint. Yeah. So
as someone with a Cabover,
yes,
it's really easy to see why it's difficult to shift a Cabover looking at this truck because of how long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
look.
Yeah. The link.
They put a new linkage McGillicuddy. There's a name for that. We call it the McGillicuddy. And then when everything's doing the thing, then you got to do the stuff. Yeah. I think as a Cabover person yourself, I think yours stays with the cab and goes up with the cab, your shifter. If the cab was to go up, it would go with it. I think. This one stays put. It stays on the bottom. Freightliners.
So that's a little easier to shift then, right?
Well, it's a little more stable. Because like when you get to some of the other ones, like the Freightliners in the later years would have cables and such, and they really got sloppy to shift.
That was something that Diamond Rio did. Instead of the airlines being on the frame, they stayed all in the cab. So the airlines were all up there, which was, for a plumbing mechanic end of it, was probably a wise idea. But if it was hooked to a trailer and you had to put the cab up, if you didn't remember to unhook the lines, as you got about halfway up, they'd come off and smack the back of the cab. Trust me, I've done that a time or two. Oh, we have a 1966 Dodge, C model Dodge swing fender, they called them.
220 Cummins, 10 speed, and it's been, would you know what it was when it showed up, other than it was a single drive?
Yeah, we also bought it brand new. There was about a 2-year period in there we didn't own it, but then we've been able to buy it back. So
truck's never been out of our name.
Yeah.
And it's cool because it was lived out most of life outside, so it's very rusted. I wanted to bring it, but apparently you need a clutch in order to get them to load. I think I could have got it. Well, now, the seat had fell through the floor on it already. Now we have it inside; it's safe, and we have a cab that may or may not work for it, but we will have it out someday. It's really cool. I think it's a neat one. You've probably seen the swing fenders in the shows and stuff before. They're very cool. Yep.
But this one led a very colorful life. It started as a single axle tractor.
Not this one here, but the swing fender did.
The swing fender, yeah. We've added axles to it and then made it a dump truck. And
this one was drove, the one we're leaning on right now, the Rio. It was drove by my grandfather at the end of his trucking career before they finally pulled his license. Well, he had seizures and he was also crazy. So eventually and then they had to hide the keys for a while because he still wanted to. But yeah, I can remember when kindergarten had like those days where you go, what does your dad do? And these things, my grandpa drove me in this truck to there.
No, he was only in his mid-50s when they took his license on him.
He was in a big crash in his earlier trucking career, which led to the seizures later in life.
This is another true, I guess you call it a survivor. It's, yep. Like I say, we've owned it since new. It's been painted twice. Once like originally to match Prouse colors, and then once a few years later. But it's never been in an accident. It's never like all the panels are original, I guess you could say.
It had a little fire once, but well, things get hot every now and again. Things melt. That's okay. Yeah,
A little wiring issue.
small stuff, really. Not to be concerned about. Don't worry, Grandpa still drove it. Yeah, but the only difference in the paint was the first time they painted, they just went right across with the blue. They weren't very creative. They just went, okay, so blue here and then blue there, and it's just a battery box.
Yeah,
but,
that's the
so
battery
why does it
box
dip down
there.
like that? Do the two batteries go in there?
Yeah,
Is that how that
there's actually 4 batteries. There's 2 go down in the bottom, and then 2 sit up on top.
You have to have the cab up in order to work on the batteries.
Yeah, to get the battery box off, they put the cab up. So yeah,
And then there used to be the big oil tank back here, and then there was a thing here that went across because the frame flexed so much that it would pull the drive shaft. Because the drive shaft's only a foot long, right? So once it flexed, it would fall out. So
I guess that's sort of a handy way to check the fluids.
yeah.
The dipstick is crazy because it's like 6 feet long. Like I don't know how long Stu is, but like this one here, like yeah.
Slap me in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my favorite. And look at that. That's how good of a job our mechanic did. Doesn't even have black oil in it yet. And Kenny was as old as the truck. That's what we like to hire around
We
here.
had to hire a part-time semi-retired mechanic that knew how to work on that style of Cummins engines. Like not just anybody in today's world knows how to work on those style of Cummins. So
Oh, he was funny. But we all make mistakes. I wanted to fix a leaky head gasket. It was all downhill from there.
you almost got run over.
I got a transmission to go in it and a fifth wheel to go back on it. And then the next time, hopefully you see it next year, it'll have a trailer with it. That's my goal, my hope.
And it'll drive here on its own.
Yes, if I can let these people give me the respect that I can go 5 hours in the Cabover. But I haven't got a lot of people that think that's going to happen. I think I can do it. If I get enough weight on the old trailer, I think I can get it down here without having all my teeth fall out.
I believe in you.
Yeah, see, that's what I need. I need people to believe in me.
Take this from a guy that's drove Cabover for 15 years. He'll be in pain.
Oh, such a pretty old truck.